Let's roll, boys.
All right, man, let's do it.
Let's roll. Good morning.
Hey, guys.
Good morning, man.
How are you?
I'm good, brother.
What's up, Fletch? I'm Hase. This is Fletch. We have with us today a very, very special guest.
Indeed.
Todd Smith, world-renowned Todd Smith.
I would imagine that's true.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
In my own mind, at least. You know.
That's right.
So,
no, I would think so.
So, guys, let me tell you something. What a blessing to be here. You know, I feel a real deep sense of responsibility to kind of share, you know, the things that I've learned. And I want to tell you thank you from the deepest recesses of my heart for inviting me on here. I hope I can provide some insight to your audience and to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I have a very different perspective on things.
You do.
So let's fire away and let's roll.
We're concerned that you're an introvert. And that
yes.
I told you we couldn't get him to speak, man. It wasn't happen.
But
that's incredible. And
I mean, Todd has been doing this for 40 years.
40 years.
40 years. I've got a little blurb here about him, but he's the owner of Todd Smith Fitness.
Yes.
He's been doing this 40 years, as we said. He became interested in fitness and nutrition early in his life as he watched his family struggle with poor fitness, and this motivated him to learn all that he could about his loved ones and to help improve their health. And what we're about here is trying to have a long and healthy life. And we're trying to share that knowledge and information that we glean from people like you. Mm-hmm. But your perspective happens to be really unique in that there's a personal touch to it, and you share that every single day with your customers. And so if you want to just pick up on that.
Well, here, this is what's interesting. And I may ramble a little bit, but I think I'm unique, not in Omaha or Nebraska or the United States, but actually in the world. I don't think anybody spent 100,000 hours, 100,000 hours working with people one-on-one and being immersed in every single second of those experiences. I mean, what do you learn from that?
Yeah.
From me, a lot.
Like I was going to say.
It's, you know, because I'm not that great at innovating and I'm not that smart, but I'm very observant. And I think it's always been my passion to help guys like us. So the spark that ignited this passion for me was seeing my dad. Mm-hmm. You know, I looked up to him. He's a great guy. He had me really late in life. And I have my oldest sister. And my father, by the way, was born in 1925. And in the Depression, his family is like, you know, the grapes of wrath. He's like Tom Joad. His parents literally went broke, got in a pickup truck, moved from Phelps City, Missouri to California where they could get work. And so, you know, he went through those times and he only went to the 6th grade. But he was a grinder. And they went times with no food. And so because of that emotional glitch related to being full and being hungry, you know, it left a real, you know, chasm, a void in his life. And so once he became able to buy food, he just, you know, he became gluttonous. And anyway, and I think what's kind of interesting about people of that vintage, then their eldest children often suffer from the same thing, because as a child he didn't have anything to eat, so they almost looked at it as a badge of honor to have an obese child. Look at me, I can afford to feed my kids.
Right.
Look at me. You know, so that was the catalyst to my oldest sister's, you know, issues. And so when I came around, you know, 23 years later, you know, I was like, man, I saw the pain. I saw the discomfort, you know, the health issues, you know, the emotional devastation that comes with the female that's 150 pounds overweight. You know?
And you're seeing this to some degree in the clients that come to you now.
Well, yeah,
the people that are coming to some degree, they're looking for guidance.
Sure. But I want to make my point in that I was a lot different than other guys coming of age, because I never wanted to be the coach to, you know, the football team. Right. I never aspired to be Boyd Epley or to be Louis Simmons like we talked about earlier. I wanted to help the mature adult. I wanted to help the person that really I felt needed it the most. somebody that was looking for answers, somebody that needed motivation, direction, accountability, somebody that needed a program, somebody that needed emotional support. And that's what I've spent all my time doing. So I'm not, I don't have a Hall of Fame with, this guy made it to the NFL and that guy's a world champion. I don't have that, but I got, thousands of people that are living a better life because of the path that I laid down. Yeah. So that's what gives me a unique perspective.
That's amazing.
And over those 40 years, I've gained the capacity to observe, discern, disseminate, practice, and then teach. And I'm going to tell you that if you think about that process today, how hard that is. Think about the emotional bombardment that we're all, that we're all experiencing with all the, what do we think about this? The debate last night. Who are you supposed to believe? Oh, man. Come on, man. What are you supposed to think about anything? You got everything is diametrically opposed to another. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's certainly that way when it comes to aging issues.
Right.
And I quite frankly find a lot of the information that's being told on both sides to be reckless.
In what way?
That's interesting.
Well, okay, so let's just talk about cholesterol. Let's talk about cholesterol. Let's talk about the aging. You want to talk about aging? Well, what dictates our aging more than our vascular system? You can look like you guys and be on the cusp of death because your vascular system's aging.
No doubt.
You may not know this. And so if you start, looking around, what am I supposed to believe? Well, who am I supposed to believe? Because the thing of it is, there's a science out there called epidemiology, and it's the science of the statistics related to health. The statistics related to health. Whenever I hear about that, I always think about a famous quote by Mark Twain, a guy that I love, and he said, "There's liars, there's damn liars, and then there's statistics." Because the statistics, the data generated by these epidemiologists is so skewed by who's paying the bills.
No doubt, Todd.
Wow, isn't it amazing that Pfizer's will show you that if you have a basic cholesterol level of 190 and your LDLs are over 85, that you need a statin?
But what do you tell your customers then? Do you start with, something like that?
Oh yeah, we discuss all that, but let me explain, because we have to have we have to understand both sides of this equation, because they're diametrically opposite of one another. So you have one side that can produce millions and millions of pages of data that says you better take a statin, you're gonna die, right. You better do this. Because your arteries are clogging as we speak.
Right. And
how dare you if you eat a whole leg? And how dare you if you eat, a butter or steak? How dare you?
Right.
Okay.
He's scaring me.
No, but now I want to go on the other flip side.
I'm totally with you, man.
What about this? What about how much data is out there related to the opposite side? Hey, you should be eating all the butter, whole milk, eggs, and beef that you possibly can. There's an absolute, cavalcade of people going down, stampeding towards that side of the philosophy. How dare you? How dare you take a statin? How dare you take the yolk out of the egg?
So now they're ping-ponging back and forth.
So where are we? What are we supposed to think?
What do you think?
What do you think? But I just want you to think about, what is the average person supposed to think? Right. Because if you watch Instagram Reels, they're equal. There's an equal number on each side. And here's the sad thing: the data backs up both of them equally.
Yeah.
Okay. But now let's do something. Let's think about this. Who's paying for the testing from the paleo guys? Not paleo, but like the beef eaters, the whole egg eaters. Who's paying for that?
So it's all skewed. There's no doubt.
The egg industry, the dairy industry, and I guess nobody wants to dive into it, but I think that the truth lies in the middle, because I find both sides to be relatively reckless, because it has to do with how we individually, what our own body's chemistry is like. What if you take a guy that has a high genetic predisposition for inflammation in his epithelial lining of his vascular system, okay, and then we feed him, of course you should have 6 whole eggs every morning with butter, and then of course you should have a nice ribeye steak, and an avocado for lunch, and then at night another ribeye. Will it provide you with lots of fantastic muscle building protein? Absolutely. But for that individual that has that high degree of genetic predisposition for inflammation in his epithelial lining, has a high level of APOB, has a high level of LDLs, you're going to kill that guy.
Okay, so let's start from scratch. The average person is saying, you know what, I turned 60 and I still want to have a healthy, you could call it last chapter, but it could be last 40, 50 years of their life. They come to you, and by the way, people who come to you are seeking something, right? And
they want to feel their best, look their best, and be their best. Yes.
Ching. That's the phrases.
Yeah.
But they come to you and they're looking for that. My guess is they've been bombarded with this information as you talk about.
Paralysis by overanalysis.
Oh, yeah.
They might come in and say, you know what, Todd, I want to be stronger. I want to be more flexible. I want to, and there's something that is surrounding that. How do you get to the issue? Because the people, by the way, that are your customers that I've talked to, they say you treat them the same as if they were the first customer you ever had, or a brand new one who just came in the door, because everybody's unique. So where do you start?
This is what we try to do. So what we try to do is we have, before anybody ever comes in, we try to, not us as an organization, but me as an individual, I try to add value to everybody's life that I touch, whether it can be a positive, emotionally. I want to uplift everybody's spirit. I owe it to them because I have so much positivity and so much energy inside me. I owe it. I have a responsibility to elevate everyone. But somebody comes in and hey, I want to learn more about your place. Fantastic. We're going to do a discovery call.
Okay.
And right from the get-go, we discuss the economics. And let's say, hey, I can't afford that. I don't care. I'm going to spend time adding value to that person's life. And so some of the most basic things that we need to do if we're coming of age, if we're in our 50s and 60s and we want to be our best, well, there's certain things that you have to have. They're unequivocal truths, and you have to understand what your blood work's like. Because I can't give you, that was what I was trying to get at, is that I can't give you a nutrition plan if I don't know what your blood chemistry looks like.
So do you do that stuff?
100%. I ask people to go do it. Yeah. Hey, go see your doctor. Come back to me. Show me what your cholesterol profile is. What's your fasted glucose level? What's your APOB? And if any of those markers are off, then I say go get a coronary calcium test, because that'll solve everything. Because if you get all these people, well, I wonder what I should do. I wonder if I should take a statin. Well, first of all, I want to also mention, before we go off on that, I'm not against modern medicine. Statins save millions of people's lives.
But it's
millions.
Not for everybody.
It's a money grab for some. Yeah. Because when you start a statin, when do you stop?
So you start.
You don't stop until
you have
you're
them
dead,
get a blood test.
We ask people to get a blood test,
yeah.
because it's very difficult for me to say, hey, this is what you should be eating if I don't know, because it's reckless.
Right.
It's just like I was discussing about the social media reels. Hey, eat all this, or how about the game changers? Let's do nothing but plant-based.
Right.
Let's not eat any complete protein and see what happens. Okay, let's do that.
What
You know
trends
what I
have
mean?
you seen? Sorry, Fletch, jumping in.
No, man. I am
What,
fascinated. I'm enjoying
what
it.
trends have you seen in your 40 years where you say, wow, 40 years ago for people in their 60s, this is what we
I
did?
mean, where do we begin? You want to talk about exercise? You want to talk about nutrition? I mean, we'll just talk about nutrition.
Yeah.
Dean Ornish. You've ever heard of Dean Ornish?
Yeah.
Dean Ornish, magnificent guy. I don't think Dean Ornish set out to hurt anybody. I don't think that the Scarsdale diet guy set out to hurt anybody or Atkins. They all have. But what's the difference between Dean Ornish and Dr. Atkins? You know what? Everything. They're completely the opposite.
Interesting.
You know,
Yeah.
but I always tell people this. If your goal is to change your body's composition, do you know what all those diets have in common? They all work. Every one of them works. Every one of them works. But why, if they all work, why does everybody fail? Why? Because they can't execute it.
Yeah.
Let's discuss a system that you can do, that you can actually execute. Because does it really matter? You know, I always get people, hey, can you send my my granddaughter a workout program? Yeah, I can. And she's going to look at it and say, do 3 sets of squats and 4 deadlifts and do the stair step. You know, come on,
And
man.
100 push-ups.
Nobody's going to do these things.
Right.
You have to be able to execute it. And
that's the
just
thing.
like
Yeah, I think-
some other things that I'm going to just add in. You want to ruin somebody? Talk to them about portion control. Don't eat too much. You better push away from the table. Get up from the dinner table and be hungry. See what happens. What are you going to do before bed?
Eat.
You're going to throw down a bag of marshmallows and some,
or if you're
Hershey's
Fletch,
Kisses.
Did it last night.
Well, I know,
Yeah,
but
man.
who doesn't? I mean, let's just be honest. We're humans. We're not supposed to be perfect.
Right.
We're not.
Absolutely.
So let's find something that works.
Right.
Let's find something that we can execute. When you're talking about what trends have I seen? I mean, my goodness. You know, when I was 23 years old, the big thing was Dean Ornish and the Cleveland Clinic. You got to go to the Cleveland Clinic and train. You got to do it. It was all cardiovascular based. These people looked horrible. They didn't have a stitch of muscle. They're, they're walking around like zombies. I feel great. Yeah, you do. You know, your posture's all lurched over. And I had, so at that exactly the same time, there was this wacko named Arthur Jones out of DeLand, Florida. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He invented Nautilus.
He's the Nautilus guy.
He's
Yeah.
the
he is?
Nautilus guy. And
Yeah.
he is literally a psychopath. He's long dead, but he scared me to death. He carried a revolver with him.
Of course.
And his energy was mine times 2. He had a superiority complex where he thought everybody was an idiot except for him. And if anybody had the genetic predisposition to build muscle, he thought that your genetic predisposition of muscle was the lower your intellect was. So when he saw me and I was big and buff, he thought I was maybe one of the dumbest people on earth. But his whole thing was to do no cardio and high intensity weight training, followed by very high fat, very high protein diet.
Like high reps training or just
Intensity, like Dorian
Go to
Yates,
failure.
Mike Mincer
The
stuff.
Mike Mincer style,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Mike Mincer ripped off Arthur Jones.
I lived all that.
Yeah, it is. But I want to say again, now think about this. Are you a Cleveland Clinic guy? Or are you an Arthur Jones guy? Why does everything have to be so polarizing?
Yeah, totally.
That's a great comment. That's a great comment.
And that's what I'm trying to say, is that, I had a staff meeting with a bunch of everybody. We had a full staff meeting, everybody from Arizona. Everybody was together on a Zoom call yesterday. And I took aside everybody that was under the age of 30, and I said, the hardest thing to do when you're in your 20s and 30s, I'm going by the assumption that these people actually read books like I did. Probably not. They're more real oriented. But I said it's the hardest thing to do is to disseminate what's right and what's wrong. How am I supposed to know am I supposed to listen to Dean Ornish or Arthur Jones? Come on, man. They're opposites.
right.
They're directly opposite.
But they're both compelling, right?
Very
They make their
interesting.
argument.
And there's truths to both sides.
Sure.
So I said to these guys yesterday, and girls, I said, when I was your age, I'd read a book and I'd be like, oh my God, this is exactly the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it took me until I was about 50 to be able to figure out I need to like discern, disseminate, and practice. It doesn't just like, do you see what I mean? It's just so difficult with so much conflicting information.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what makes me unique, that 100,000 hours, is I've seen what works.
Yeah.
I've put it into practice. And believe me, here's what's interesting about me after 40 years. I'm still learning all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a whole bunch of stuff at the gym about toe strength and balance and all kinds of weird stuff. I'm into it. I'm a nut about this stuff.
Love it.
I want to get better and better and better and better. That's my journey that I'm on.
Well, I think there's nothing really better. All of the data and statistics, as you said, can be manipulated to arrive at a specific position.
Follow the money.
But the anecdotal evidence, having done it for 100,000 hours over 40 years, doesn't lie, right?
It doesn't.
You see what works and what doesn't work.
It doesn't.
And that's unique.
But to go back now to go back to your original question about what happens when people start, we always, to start with, we try to make everything so simple, because does the program really matter if you can't execute it?
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
Right.
If you're going to stay with it.
You got these people, put a jigger of this and a tablespoon of that. Come on, who's going to do this?
If it works, and if you stay with it, yeah.
Can you execute?
So how do you find that, I guess, hot button for boomers, for people that are, like, I've seen you in action, by the way, an anecdote. Like, my son had shoulder surgery. He went to PT, did all this stuff, and he was maybe 18, 17 at the time.
Yeah, what a lovely young man.
And
handsome.
And the way Todd treated him versus how he treated a person that looked to me to be in their mid to late 60s was really interesting to me, because I would drop him off and I said, Todd, remember, this is the thing he's working on and whatever. And Todd's like, well, here's what we're going to do. And he calls attention to the whole room. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, we have a young man in here. Yes. And everybody stops and looks, and look at this young strapping gentleman. And when I told him I was going to be seeing you, he goes, do you think he still calls me the young strapping gentleman? Anyway, but the connection and the personal relationship you had with him versus the guy across the room, where you went up to him and you just whispered. You said, remember, this is what we got to do. This is the range of motion. The connection that you have there is developed by those 100,000 hours, I think. And that's what's sort of missing, I think, in nutrition advice and exercise advice, because everybody wants that instant gratification, right?
Well, when the dust settles, we always talk about that, like, we're kind of going off topic a bit, but like, we always talk about, okay, so at the Ultimate Workout and at Todd Smith Fitness, and we have another business called Nutrition Pros where we really work on the nutrition side exclusively, but we always say, well, what do we do? What do people think we do? Well, we're trainers, motivators, educators. But what do we really do? Well, we help people. But what do we really, really, really do? And what we really, really, really do, what's at the absolute core, is we try to elevate everybody emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. I want people to feel good about themselves, because if you want to be successful, you got to feel good about it. Mm-hmm. And so that's at the crux. Like, if you were to sit in on a staff meeting, 90% of it is about, hey, man, let's be grateful. Let's be grateful. If you're naturally an introverted person, then you have to be able to elevate yourself emotionally, because I want every single person that walks through the door to feel like they're incredible. Mm-hmm. And I want this time that we spend with them to be extraordinary. I want them to walk out of here and say, man, those guys care about me. Man, did I have a great time. Mm-hmm. Man, did I laugh. That was fun. Because if you can do that, then some people, like you guys, love to exercise. You're talking about taking ice baths and doing uncomfortable things. A lot of people don't like that. Mm-hmm. So if you can make it fun, and you can make them feel like they're loved, we don't have to make them feel that way. We love them. We love them. I love everybody. Right. That's what makes me different. But then you can have them stay. Because in our business, 99.99% of what the business owners focus on are new customers. How are we going to get new leads? Lead gen.
One question.
But let me finish. I want to talk about this, and I'm sorry, but I want to finish. But so, 99% of what they do, time is how are we going to get new customers? What can we do? We're not getting enough leads. There's a new company, I won't even say the name, but every gym's running the same marketing ads about trying to get new customers in. And this guy's made a fortune. He's made a hell of a lot more money than I have selling his marketing system. But I spend no time, zero time on focusing on new customers. I don't care about that. What I care about is the experience. And all we talk about as organizationally is how can we give a better experience? How can we make a difference in these people's lives? And it's just a different way of doing things because, in all those other businesses that people stay 3 months. We got people that are there for 30 years. We got 100 people that have been there for 20 years.
Wow.
Something to stick with. That says a lot, though, because it's something that you found the hot button for them.
Emotional
that
connection.
Yeah.
But I want to. We're going off, but I want to say, going back to the discovery call, we go over, we make things simple, we discuss their nutrition, we try to get them to understand a baseline of what their body's internal chemistry is like. Once I get an understanding of that, then I can feel real comfortable in prescribing a diet. If you have naturally low cholesterol, then I'm going to give you I'm going to give you some whole eggs. I believe in that for the right person. Conversely, if you come back and you're like, my triglycerides are 300 and my my LDLs are 200, I'm probably not going to give you a lot of whole eggs. I'm going to give you a high protein diet that doesn't have a lot of saturated fats. I'm going to get it customized for you. You see?
Yep. And keep it simple. Something they'll stick with.
And we discuss. We try not to quantify things too much when it comes to eating. Eat 4 ounces of this and have 2 egg whites. Again, recipe for disaster. Get up from the table hungry, and you're going to be snacking.
Are you seeing more people that? Well, I guess what prompts this question. You start at our age. You start getting all this stuff from ARP.
Yeah.
Right? And I get this brochure the other day, and it says, exercise for seniors. And I wish they would stop saying seniors. I just wish that terminology.
We're seniors, brother.
But it's like, so I flip it open, and it says, get a 5-pound dumbbell and, do 3 sets of 10 repetitions with the dumbbell. And I'm looking around going, what is this? This isn't for me.
I know, of course not.
Okay, but why does that happen?
I mean, I got to applaud them for that. I'm not going to knock them because think about, did you just have your guys are at 40. You're not at your 45-year reunion, but you guys are coming up on some reunions. When you go back and a lot of people don't do and that's the thing is, who are we speaking to here? Right. You got to know your audience, man. Right. So if you're not doing anything, if they're not moving, then
so
you
get a spark, something to do.
Get something. So anything is better. I mean, have you seen the little bicycles they have with the
man.
I mean, it's hysterical. I mean, it's absolutely
I thought about getting one for my mom, though.
Well, it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing, right?
It's better than nothing. I mean, truly, you can't say, it's better. So there's levels to this. Where do we want to go? Who are we talking to? If you want to get serious about it, then we're talking, I assume, to the serious person. Let's make a dramatic change. Let me, Todd Smith, add value to your life while you're listening to this. Go to the doctor and get your blood work. Once you understand that, then you can have a nutrition plan that's scaled and modeled for you to help you improve your health and your longevity and your health span. So that's step one. Then we discuss cardiovascular exercise. Now, from a philosophical perspective, I am dramatically different than others because I'm not really, I don't believe there's an internal abacus or a calculator inside of us. You know, do your 20,000 steps and you've hit your goal for the day. Yeah, and don't eat more than 1,200 calories. Not a big fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of quantifying everything. I believe that we should be doing cardiovascular exercise for one reason: to strengthen your heart, to make your lungs powerful. Strengthen. And so we put together a program designed specifically for somebody that wants to strengthen their heart. And like, for those of you guys that are listening to this, I like lots of moderate cardio. I think, you know, what they call the zone 2 cardio.
Zone 2,
70,
right?
72, 75% of your max. I think it's safe. Now, if you're really into working out, you're going to say, but that didn't give me a good workout. I get it, but that's what's going to give you the most powerful squeeze of your heart. That's what your heart's going to like. And this, everything is incremental. You know, you can build this up, by the way. I mean, Lance Armstrong or any of these great these great aerobic guys, you know, as you become more fit, it takes more and more work to get your heart rate up to 125 beats a minute. But those guys, even champion cyclists and not sprinters, but distance runners, they're not getting their heart rates up to the highest level every single workout. It's counterproductive, you know, but it's also counterintuitive because for lots of guys and women that are type A, they're like, I need to do the Peloton every day.
Right.
I literally have a girl that just started with me, insanely cool, fabulous, exactly my age, doing 2 Peloton classes a day. And she's so disappointed. Todd, I have no energy. I can't lose any body weight. What's wrong with me? Well, metabolically and hormonally, you're shot. You're overworking your central nervous system to the max. Of course, you're not going to be able to change your body's composition when you're training that frequently and with that level of intensity. So I always start people doing the least amount of work necessary to initiate change. So when it comes to strengthening the heart, I do like quite a bit of volume. I know it takes a lot of time, but I like between 120 and 150 minutes of level 2 cardio a week. And I know that's a big commitment, but if we're 58 to 70 or whatever, it's worth the time. You're gonna get the juice is worth the squeeze.
Okay.
You know, it's worth it's worth the squeeze. And then if you're so compelled, then go out and kick ass one day a week. Get on your Peloton. Go do something hard. Do some high-intensity interval training, and it's going to pay an enormous dividend. And let me also reiterate something. Who am I talking to right now? I'm talking to guys like us. I'm not talking to a 24-year-old.
Right.
It's so important that we understand who we are because we're different metabolically, hormonally, physically, posturally, everything. We're different at 58 to 65 than we were at 22. Sorry, but that's the unequivocal truth.
That's the reality.
But that's what I really think is going to provide you the most benefit to your cardiovascular system, is that type of training. And then as you evolve, you can throw in some more intense stuff. You can go a little bit harder. But that zone 2, I think, is most conducive to strengthening the heart.
And as you said, safe. It's a safe approach, which I liked. I like that.
It's comment. Everything that we do at the apex of what we do is safety. And you know, I got to tell you a funny story. One of my lifelong friends, retired Navy guy, fit as a fiddle. I mean, incredible. He's, you know, his parents, he doesn't live here. His parents still live here. We come back and work out. And he sees this Instagram reel, and it says, you know, if you want to stave off aging, sprint. Go sprint.
Sprint.
I've heard that.
Sprint. Let's go sprint.
Yeah.
And so he lives on the beach, and so he takes his shoes off and he starts sprinting. And let me reiterate, this guy's he's not the guy that's doing the little bicycle thing, and he's not the guy that's doing the 3 sets of 10 with a 2-pound dumbbell.
Yeah.
He's fit, so he does the sprints, tears his Achilles tendon.
Nice.
You know, I mean, and these are the caveat emptor, man. Mm-hmm. So be careful. You know, don't, I mean, I love jiu-jitsu, but it's probably not the smartest thing to take up when you're 58 years old or 64.
Let me add to that because I did. I've been doing the martial arts stuff for years.
Great. Oh, good.
On the other side of the house, you know, the kickboxing side of the house, and that was kind of my cardio.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the guys rolling in the other room. I go over to Mid-America Martial Arts
that's
in
fantastic.
Aaron's place. And,
It's incredible.
It's incredible. And I'm watching.
He's incredible.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I'm watching Marcus Butler rolling over there, and I'm like, man, that looks great. And I'm 63, and I'm thinking, I would like to do that. And I was like, Marcus, can you, we did a little one-on-one.
Yeah.
It was fantastic until about the second week. And then my back starts hurting. Yeah. You're always constantly tied in a knot, and Marcus is, twisting on my head.
Yeah.
And now my neck hurts, and my back, and I had to quit.
Yeah.
I stopped, which was absolutely what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I totally lived it.
I just think that we should, something I've learned is that we assess absolutely everything from a risk versus benefit basis.
Thank you.
So, it's cool. I mean, I love, I took my son to UFC 300, and I didn't know any of the guys, but it was cool, But I don't, I think it's real, again, is it the appropriate thing to do for me? Probably not. But, I just think that, hitting the bag really hard and kick, I mean, if you've been doing it, then I think it's okay. But, should it be something that you start? I'm not trying to, again, who are we talking to?
Right.
I don't think it's that great of a thing. Now, I love jiu-jitsu. My son all we do is wrestle. And my daughter is a taekwondo person and karate and jiu-jitsu.
Good.
But we love it. But I don't know if it's the healthiest, best thing to pick up when you're our age.
I would totally agree.
One thing you said that was really interesting on the, the baseline, the blood work. Let's see where you are, and then you started in with cardio. I like everything that you laid out. Where does strength training then?
Well, it's one. But so this is the kind of the thing, is that here's the rub about why people have failed so often historically, is that, they've done, hey, I'm going to do the Game Changers diet, Todd. That's fantastic. Hey, how about this? I'm going to intermittently fast, lose 60 pounds. So what you got to understand, and what we've alluded to earlier, is that everything is about metabolic health. Mm-hmm. It's about how can I engage myself metabolically. And if you exclusively diet, you will lose weight. It's inevitable. You're going to lose weight. But, what happens when you lose 50 pounds? Are you losing 50 pounds of body fat? No. Mm-hmm. You're losing 30 pounds of body fat and 20 pounds of muscle. Mm. So when you embark upon a workout program that's exclusively based upon nutrition and cardiovascular, what happens? You lose a lot of weight. What happens to your lean mass? It plummets. You have nothing. Okay? So what is the true dictator of your metabolic rate? Muscle mass. Muscle mass. So here's what we try, and this is the tough pill to swallow, is you got to do it all. Because what happens, I have some graphics. I did an infomercial in 95 called Todd Smith's I Can Do It. We ran it all over the United States, sold 100,000 copies. It was really cool. But we took some excerpts out of that from 30 years ago, and I called it The Inevitable Road Back to Fat. Diet, your metabolic rate just slowly starts to plummet. And then you hit a point when you're at rock bottom. Now, what happens when you break the diet? You start putting on body fat. When you start to add, when you're at the metabolic abyss, When you go off the diet, do you put the muscle mass back on? Hell no. You just put the fat back on. So you end up a smaller, softer, pudgier version of yourself. Now, similarly, if you just do cardio and nutrition, you're going to be on this treadmill of calorie burning the rest of your life. With, I strained my knee, I can't run for 2 months. That's funny. You gained 40 pounds in 2 months because you're committing metabolic, larceny when you do this. So it's about when we start that discovery call, we go over nutrition, we go over cardiovascular, and we go over strength training. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You want to fix yourself metabolically, build muscle. You want to absorb more glucose, build more muscle. You want to be able to deviate off your meal plan a little bit and not have a catastrophic rebound, build some muscles. Muscle, muscle, muscle. And it's like we're in I got to hand it to some people out there. Peter Attia, Andrew Huberman. There's some really good guys out there, and they're understanding that muscle mass is important. 30 years ago, I'd have people walk into my gym, and I'm like, okay, we're going to build muscle and get your metabolic rate going. Like, I don't want to build muscle. What do you mean you don't want to build muscle? I don't want to look like you. Hey, you're not going to look like me, lady, all right? Right. But for the very first time, people understand that to attain great metabolic health, we need to build muscles.
Absolutely.
So at Todd Smith Fitness, that's all we do. We aren't giving you. You're not going to get a cardiovascular workout during our workout. It's not like we're going to have you do a set of curls and then run over there and give me 25 jumping jacks, and then you see everybody doing shitty jumping jacks. Right. We don't do that. We don't do that. We build muscle, build muscle, build muscle. And I want to tell you, it's absolutely shocking what you can do to an adult body. How many people I have seen completely metamorphosize at 60, at 70, at 80. At 80. I got a guy 83 years old, started at 82, retired anesthesiologist. Absolutely love this guy. He's added 10 pounds of muscle mass at 82. That's impossible hormonally. That's impossible physiologically. Right. But he did it.
That's amazing.
I mean, and what is that going to do to his health span?
It's changing everything.
Incredible.
Confidence.
It's incredible.
Yep.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. But like when it comes to the muscle mass, it's crucial. And I guess like to give a prescription to somebody out there that's listening is you don't have to make things complicated. You don't need to do, one-legged, Romanian deadlifts followed by, goblet squats. And I mean, like, you don't need to do all that dumb shit. Keep it simple.
Love that.
Stimulate the muscle. You don't have to quantify. You don't have to say, I'm going to get 40 pounds for 6 and then do 6 shitty reps. That's not what we're trying to teach. Let's stimulate the muscles very safely. Create that neurological pathway so you can really feel the muscle lengthen and shorten, so you can feel that muscular stimulation. It's powerful, and that will transform a person's body. But remember this, I don't want you to be in that inevitable road back to fat with this, with this slow metabolic rate that's working against you. Moderate cardio, what's going to change your body's composition is the environment that you create internally with the foods that you eat. Right. I don't want you to look at cardio as a means to manage weight, to burn body fat, to burn calories, to count steps. It's neurotic, it's unhealthy, and it's unsuccessful.
It's neurotic.
It's totally.
Yeah, it is.
Totally.
You create an environment internally with the nutrition. Quit eating processed shit.
That's right.
Totally, man.
And you do that and you will metamorphosize. You will become healthier, Metabolically, your gut health will improve, your brain will improve, everything will improve, and you'll feel great. And guess what? When you've built muscle, when you're eating healthy, then you don't have to expect perfection out of yourself. Then you can go away for a weekend and have some drinks and have fun, and you're not going to say, oh my God, I gained 9 pounds, and you spend the next 4 months trying to get it back off. That sucks.
But that's the cycle.
That's
been
the cycle.
That's the cycle.
For years and years
That's
and years.
the cycle. Yes.
Incredible, man. Oh, totally incredible.
With the strength training, do you try and find what people just enjoy? There's some people who like the high repetition, low weight, or
No, we know what works. I mean, so what we've done is like, it's really interesting. We analyze everybody posturally, and we figure out what's going to work for them.
Interesting. Wait, say more about that. Analyze them posturally.
Well, okay, this is a whole nother Pandora's box.
iPhone
I
neck
could spend
Let me sit up
50
straight.
hours. Yeah, we could spend 50 hours discussing this.
Okay, but generally speaking, is it like because of iPhone neck or because of age?
Both.
Okay.
Stop and think about this. You're 60. You guys are 64. I'm 58. Okay, so how many hours did you spend between the time you were born and the time you were 22 years old with sitting with a humped over back and your chin on your chest looking straight down?
Zero.
None. Now, what happens today? How many hours do the kids look? And I know Raymond never even had, he didn't even have a phone.
No.
You were like one of those weird parents like we were. You're not getting that phone.
Right.
But I'm just saying, we were the same way.
Yeah.
We were my kid was the only one that didn't have the phone.
Yeah.
She'd bring a fake phone to parties, like a dead phone. So she'd carry it around. But anyway, It like the
now
posture.
people are this way all the time.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
It's shocking. But so anyway,
Okay, so you evaluate them posturally.
we evaluate them posturally to see what they can do, and we got to say, hey, how do your knees feel? How do your feet? What's your ankle? How's your hip?
Yeah.
How's your back? How's your neck? We go through everything.
Interesting. Yeah.
Everything. And so now that we're going to go down another path, if you don't mind. So now we're going to talk about aging of the body. And so we're going to talk about when somebody walks in the door. Now, I'm not talking about guys like you. Let's just say the typical guy that's 60 years old. And he's done some exercise, intermittently, stayed relatively decent in shape. You know what they always come in asking for? Flexibility. Because you get so stiff. I'm so stiff, Todd. I can't swing the golf club. My back hurts. My hips hurt. I can barely move. And so, what's the thing everybody thinks that they should do then?
Stretch.
Let's stretch.
Yoga.
Stretch.
Yeah.
Yoga. So I want to, and I'm not knocking any of these guys, but here's what happens: is it's not a flexibility. It is a flexibility issue, but it's not the remedy.
Yeah, that's the symptom, right?
It's a symptom. So what happens is there's the human body works on an electrical system, okay? The neurological processes. And so as we age, through sitting, through sedentary lifestyle, through like if you've been a runner, you shut off so many parts of your body, they don't even function. And so, you take the typical guy, hey, I'm a big runner. Okay, look at your ass. Well, wait a minute, I can't see your ass because you don't have one.
Right.
Oh, yeah, where is it? No, okay. You can't see it. But I'm just saying, you can't see it because it's neurologically closed. I call it amnesia. I call it gluteal amnesia, abdominal amnesia, and then we have all the neurological dysfunction in the upper back and the neck. Those are the three things that we really focus on posturally. We got to engage. Once we get the muscle to function, then all of a sudden it's like a light bulb goes off. Man, I can move now. Now we can stretch you. Now we can work on some mobility. But you cannot stretch. A chain, it's like a bike chain. It doesn't flex. So let's stretch it. That's a brilliant idea to injure somebody and to exacerbate inflammation. You do not try to stretch a dysfunctional muscle. It doesn't function.
Right.
It doesn't work. So the process is figuring out what doesn't function, and then we really work on getting that muscle to be optimally functional. And almost always, it's the glutes.
Really?
The glutes are the anchor to the posture and the engine to our metabolic rate. It's the biggest muscle in the human body. You won't, and unfortunately, as we age, there's a term called sarcopenia. Have you guys heard of that?
Of course.
It's the gradual reduction of muscle mass as we age. And my hypothesis is that men especially lose more muscle on the backside of their body than they do on the front. So that's why we're all hunched over with that tech neck and the big belly and the no ass. So we really work on that. Let's work on engaging. Let's create that neural pathway. Let's really talk you through every single rep, because every rep is crucial to do it exactly right so we can engage that glute. Get the glute to function properly. Wow, now you stand up more straight. Now you can pull your belly button in. Now your neck's going to go back where it's supposed to be.
I'd never heard. That's really interesting.
I'm sitting here
gluteal
contracting my glutes and my abs at the same time.
Abdominal amnesia. It stops functioning. And you don't even know it, because if you just look at around, people's bellies are all pushed out. Does it mean that that's just a big fat belly? Partially. But there's the deep inner abdominal muscles don't function. They're closed. They don't work. It's amnesia. They've stopped functioning. So then you go to the gym. Okay, everybody get down and give me 10 sit-ups. That's about the dumbest fucking thing you can do.
I'm with you, brother.
That's the dumbest fucking thing you can do. It's like trying to, resuscitate a dead person. Keep blowing in their mouth. They're still going to be dead. You understand me?
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You have to get the muscle to engage. Then you can stimulate it. Then you can create mobility and it's functional, but not the other way around. And that goes the same way with all the muscles of the upper back, trapezius, because they're constantly lengthened. They're constantly rolled forward.
Yeah. Oh,
Now if you stop and think about a typical guys at the gym. A guy, let's say I'm going to pick up working out again. What's the thing that the guys do at the gym?
Bench.
They bench, curls.
Right.
Though I mean, everybody's already walking around like this. Let's exacerbate that perpetual muscular shortness in your pecs by working the pecs more. And then they do a little lat pull down, and they're doing them all wrong, letting their shoulders come out of place, exacerbating, overly lengthening with load a muscle that's perpetually lengthened. So you're doing more harm than good.
So you're about balance as well.
I'm about creating a neurological pathway through those muscles to achieve what you want, to fix yourself posturally. And it's not like just stand up straight, kid. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
It doesn't. And
the gym should be called awakening, because you have to go awaken those
You have to
muscles that
engage.
have gone into hibernation.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it's amnesia, hibernation. Better word. Better than amnesia, because it's hibernating, and we got to wake it back up.
Got to wake them up.
My man.
Totally.
I love it.
I go to the gym exclusively to do glutes.
Good.
Because my glutes went to
everybody
sleep
does. They
when
do.
I stopped squatting. They've been gone for 20 years.
So that's okay. So that's great, because should you be squatting at 63?
No, I'm not squatting anymore, man.
Because you got to protect yourself.
Absolutely.
I don't believe in a lot of spinal compression, like shoulder presses, squats, deadlifts. I mean, they can be great, and there are outliers. So let me not confuse you. There's guys that are like, our age, then they're, I deadlift 600 pounds. Okay, you're that one guy in a million.
Right.
If I did it, I'd be in a cast,
No doubt.
someplace.
No doubt.
But you got to work those glutes.
I think
and you got to work your
If you
glute
don't
medius.
squat, then what do you do?
You do thrusters, you do hip flexion hyperextensions, you do Romanian deadlifts, light.
Yeah.
You do all kinds of stuff.
Do you guys have a reverse hyper at your gym?
Yeah, we do
Love
reverse hypers. Yeah, that's Louis Simmons.
I love it.
Louis Simmons from Westside Barbell.
Yeah.
That's he was that. And so the reverse hyperextension is probably one of the very best exercises you can do.
What is it?
For your posterior kinetic chain. You just lay up on a table and your hips and legs are off, and then you just lift your legs up. So it's a reverse way of engaging your glutes and your spinal erectors. Because oftentimes when you've had an injury, you know, like a traditional like spine flexion, you're going to hurt your spine. This allows you to engage the muscles along your spine and your glutes without any compression on it at all. I love it. But
I think keeping that compression off, in fact, relieving that compression.
Oh, it's incredible.
Is incredible.
It's incredible. We use it.
Yeah.
We use it constantly.
Love it.
Yeah, it's incredible. And that's Louis Simmons.
A lot of people think that clearly that my biceps are bigger than yours, Todd. So
are we out of time?
It
we're
might
running
be
up on time, man.
It might be
Sorry
the
about
camera
that.
angle, but
I mean,
how many push-ups can you do?
You know, I probably do quite a few.
Do you?
But I usually do them at the end of my workout.
Okay.
So like I'll do like so like on each part of my body, like I still lift kind of heavy, but really nothing like below like 12 or 15. But like on my chest especially, I go high reps.
High reps.
You know, and limited range. You know, I'm not like going, hey, let me see how far back I can get my hands.
Yeah.
I'll do like high rep bench presses, high rep flies, and then I'll do push-ups.
Yeah.
but limited range.
I do limited range.
And is that a protective?
It is
as well?
Yes. It's think about like from a biomechanical perspective, when you're doing your chest exercises, instead of thinking about pushing, think about retracting. Think about taking your scapula and squeezing them back so you're in this perfect position biomechanically. Now, your pec's at a disadvantage, but that's when it's going to give you the most stimulation with the least amount of weight. And that's what we should always be after. Let's find the way to maximize the muscular stimulation while using the least amount of load possible, which translates into the least amount of risk of injury.
It's fantastic.
Brilliant
And
stuff.
keeping the range short. And you'd be surprised. Cut the range on your bench presses down to 90 degrees or even less and see how your chest feels.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it today.
And even more importantly, your shoulders.
Yeah, more importantly.
That's great stuff.
My shoulders always hurt, man.
Stud.
Yeah.
This is
for doing
amazing.
this.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So helpful.
How long did we go for?
A little over an hour.
Dang!
So
Do you see
Todd
why
Smith.
I can talk about how long I could
Yeah.
go? We could go on and talk about just the cholesterol issue for 10 hours.
I'd love to, man.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
do it again. But this is Todd Smith, everybody. You will never forget this face and this body after you've seen this show. If you've not met him before. And the business is Todd Smith Fitness.
Ultimate Workout.
Ultimate Workout.
We got one in Omaha. We got one in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we have
Nice.
Nutrition Pros. And we have a vitamin store as well.
Look your best,
Fantastic.
feel your best.
You guys are down
be
on
your
about
best.
76th and Cass.
You
is that
got
right?
it.
Okay, I've
You
driven
got
by
it.
1,000 times.
But I tell you guys, I'm not here to like promote my
No, of
business.
course
That's
not.
the last thing. I want people to walk away from here. Hopefully, I embark some knowledge upon you, and you can be on your journey.
Yeah.
And if you need any help, whether you can afford it or not, reach out to me. I want to help everybody.
That's incredible, man.
Brilliant.
I thought everything that you said was like, I was tracking everything
Yeah.
you said. This is exactly where my head is.
Yeah.
And what the journey has kind of led me to you. I mean, thank you.
Yep.
I mean, and I'll have to reach out and thank our buddy Dustin for making
He's
the
the best.
connection.
Yeah.
Dustin Tolaco, great
Yeah.
guy.
He's the best.
Yeah, he is,
the
man.
cheese.
He is.
He's a legend.
Twin sons, different mothers.
I really appreciate it, man. This has been fantastic.
No, I had fun. All right, boys. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Over and out, Omaha, and everywhere else.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
All right,
And a
we'll see
safe
ya.
4th. The 4th is coming up.
yeah,
I don't want to
there
hear
we
about anybody blowing anything off.
Yeah,
so
That's right. America.
All right, thanks,
safety
guys.
first. Later. Thanks, Todd.